got the right bitch. No lefty, walking my truth, don't fuck with my 17 crawl for you walk. Run it, catch me, got a sharp tongue, spit. Take me to another person, take me to another land. Make me forget all that hurts me, let me understand your plan. Okay. Yes, honey. Is she a token or no? Is she Caitlyn Jenner's or no? Honey, Nashville got one. Nashville got one. And it's a tea. Well, we won't get into the tea, but I'm going to introduce y'all to Olivia Hole.
So my name is Olivia. I want to say thank you. I'm going to try to pivot between the two. I have a room full of people here, and then I've got the Zoom link over here. So if you see me kind of going back and forth, I'm trying to make sure that everyone is included and everybody feels seen. My name is Olivia Hill, and I was born and raised right here in Nashville, Tennessee, and I was assigned male at birth. I felt the two questions I always get asked all the time is, when did you decide to make the change? When did you decide to be a woman? When did you decide to make the big change? And the answer is I never didn't make a change. I always felt like me from as far back in every memory. I dressed at home. I wore dresses. I played with makeup. I curled my hair. I did normal things that most girls would do, and some things that boys would do. And I didn't feel like there was any difference between me and anybody else. I saw myself as the same as my mother and my grandmother, who basically raised me, until age 10. And then at age 10, I wanted to start wearing dresses to school. Because in Miss Harris's class in 5th grade, we got an opportunity to sign up for the variety show. And I signed up to be Minnie Pearl. Oh. And my teacher, Miss Harris, allowed me to have that role. And I went home, I was all excited, and Mom made me a little hat, and she took and glued some dried flowers, and then took some index cards and some white out and covered out the lines and cut out the little price tag for 99 cents and everything, and had me all set to go. And I said, but I need a dress. And she said, honey, you can't wear a dress to school. And I thought, it's okay. It's okay. I can figure this out. I'll wear some overalls or something. I'll make this work. And so I stayed up late a couple nights in a row, listened to the Grand Ole Opry, so I could hear her and write down some of her jokes and tell some of the things so I could be just like her. And I was standing behind the royal blue velvet curtains at school on stage, and they were getting ready to go up. And I walked out on stage, and I just proudly looked for my mom, who was sitting up front, of course, and I said, howdy, and fully expected to hear something back. And it was total silence. The entire crowd is looking at me like, why in the world is this little boy on stage dressed as a woman and trying to act like a woman? And I started to cry, and I ran off stage, and I sat in the hallway, and my mom got up and ran and hugged me, and she was like, we just need to go home. And we went home. And that's when I got to talk that I had to be a boy, and I had to dress like a boy and do boy things. And Mom did all she could do to sign me up for football, baseball, basketball, Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, and every other manly thing she could think of to try to fix what she thought was her broken child. It was the same time that my father kind of came back into our life, because he left when I was about 1.5 years old, to try to give me some male figure, because that had to be the problem. But then Mom sent me to a psychiatrist in Green Hills. I went every Wednesday for 2 years to teach me that I had to be a boy and like boy things, and like cars and trucks and trains and do boy stuff. That was the start of me feeling like I was broken. Until that point, I just felt like a normal kid, and I felt like me. I didn't feel like a boy. I didn't feel like a girl. I felt like me. I dated several times throughout high school. Every girl that I dated for a long time broke up with me because I was just too feminine. And then back in the 70s, there was really two choices. You could either be a straight man or you were gay. That was the only choices that they were. And so someone who dressed nicely and pressed their clothes and showed attention to detail and things were just considered gay. So I continued through life. And then finally at age 20, I decided, you know what, I know what I could do. I can go in the military, and the Navy can fix me, because they fixed Richard Gere, an officer and a gentleman, and he was broken too. And I know they could fix me because I felt broken. And so I went down to Hardy Mall. Those of you who remember, had been in Nashville long enough to remember the old Hardy Mall. I went down there and I signed up, and they put me right in the Navy, and I went to a Great Lakes boot camp. And about the third week of boot camp, I had was commonly referred to in the military and the Navy. It's called a blanket party. And that's where when you're asleep, they come and throw a blanket over you, and they have 2 or 3 people on either side hold it down, and all 90 plus people come and hit you. Had my nose broke, had my jaw busted, I cracked a couple of ribs, and I was bruised up pretty bad. I had that happen a few times until I decided that I had to do something to man myself up. And I had to figure out a way to be safe just for me. And I had to hide this side of me to be safe. And that's when I developed this voice. And I tried to be as manly and as macho as I possibly could. And I survived boot camp. And I went to my first ship, the USS Taylor, which was stationed in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba at the time. And I basically just found the biggest alpha guy in my division and picked a fight, knowing that hopefully that would give me enough street cred that people would kind of leave me alone. And I always managed to surround myself with alpha people to keep myself safe and keep me fitting in. The entire time, I still felt like me on the inside. And occasionally, whenever I got time, I would get dressed in women's clothes.
Of course, clearly, she ended up transitioning. I think her story is wonderful. I think anyone who's interested, y'all should take the time to go listen to her story. It's very important, her being a transgender official in Tennessee, in Nashville. Because Tennessee and Nashville is just like, what state I showed y'all before? Utah, honey. I get them all. I get all the Quaker Oats states mixed up, honey. But we had this going on in Kansas, as well as Tennessee. Holy. As well as Utah. I thought it was about the kids, though. I thought it was about the kids. Oh. Now they're restricting the transgender adults. I think they're trying to get to this point. I think they're trying to turn us into Russia. You know. If you ask me, honey, and the next thing you know, we're gonna be in the Hunger Games. I mean, we already here. Rest in peace to Kelly Snow. The Sterling Man, as they call him, has been convicted. And he was known to be a trick. I definitely think y'all should get into Olivia's interview. Because she said a lot of things. I'm just hoping she's not a Caitlyn. I don't have a lot of faith. So far, everything I heard sounds good, but she is in and from Nashville, Tennessee.